Hello everyone, Canon Lowy here. This time with an Armored Warfare video. I would like to I would like to review all of the tier 10s that are currently in Armored Warfare in patch 0.18 before Balance 2.0 comes live. And first up on the list that I decided to do was the Sphinx tank, which I have to preview in this screen because I currently do not have this vehicle in my garage at the moment. So what exactly is the Sphinx? Well, the Sphinx is the tier 10 armored fighting vehicle from the Wolf company, and it is right here down at the bottom of all the armored fighting vehicles. And how you unlock it is that in Armored Warfare, all the tier 8s and tier 9s have tokens to unlock their next tier. So you can pretty much unlock the Sphinx with any tier 9 if you choose to use that current tier 9 vehicle's token on it. However, the Sphinx, what it really is, it's really an advancement from the Crab tier 9 armored fighting vehicle. And what the Sphinx has over the Crab is what its main feature is that it allows to shoot rockets and use its autocannon at the same time. And I'll quickly go through the stats here. The penetration on the autocannon is 306 millimeters of penetration, which is wonderful for a autocannon because most autocannons have very low penetration and very low damage per shot, of course, since they can do rapid fire damage. So you with that 300 millimeters of penetration, you can usually penetrate the sides and rears of even main battle tanks pretty easily for the most part. And it does a decent damage of 200. It does get 13 shells in its magazine. So 200 times 13, so you can do 2600 damage per clip, and it has the damage per minute of a whopping 10,000. Armored fighting vehicles are usually credited with having high DPM, though it is kind of hard to make good use of it, since you have to usually flank opponents to even damage them, unless they are tank destroyers or other scout tanks. Its hit points is very high. It is a tier 10 vehicle, so it gets 2,110 hit points. And down to the armor here, this is the main feature that the Sphinx is outstanding on. It is a scout tank that actually has armor. All of the other armored fighting vehicles, besides the Terminators and the T-15 Armada tank, have pretty much no armor anywhere, so you can only get bounces from pretty much only auto cannons from other scout tanks. So this is a really nice feature to have in a scout tank if you're used to something that just doesn't have any armor all of the time, and then you suddenly get into a tier 10 or any tier for that matter, and then it has some armor, so you can pull off bounces on this thing. And even though it isn't very high, it's at least good enough to pull off auto ricochets. For its mobility, as expected of a tier 10 scout tank, it has one of the highest top speeds in the game with 109.8 kilometers per hour, and it will reach that speed pretty reliably. And it has an acceleration of 2 seconds to go from 0 to 32 kilometers per hour, and a hull traverse of 68.2. This does have wheels, so the traverse speed can be a bit wonky sometimes because you have to be moving before you can actually turn. You can't turn in place with wheels at the moment. Its camouflage rating is fantastic, 38.5% camo rating. So when you're being spotted from an enemy opponent, they have an effective minus 38.5% of their view range, and it has a very high view range of its own, 440 meters base view range. All of these stats are the stock Sphinx tank with no upgrades whatsoever. So that is pretty good for being a base view range here. Its cannon gun depression is one of the best in the game with minus 16. That really helps with the armor and that massive angling right there to pull off outer ricochets if you're going over hills and sniping down on your opponents. Even if they are able to shoot you, they do have a high probability of bouncing if they hit your upper plate there. Its accuracy spread is okay at 0.13. It's not the most accurate, but it's not bad, especially for an autocannon. Its aiming time is kind of long at 2.9 seconds. However, crew skills obviously improve that dramatically. Turret traverse speed is 60 degrees per second, which is also amazing. And going through the upgrades for the vehicle, it actually gets an armor upgrade. The base armor is only 175 millimeters at the front, which isn't great. Of course, this is still a scout tank, so you're not going to get main battle tank armor out of it. But the upgraded armor gives you plus 50%, so you can actually have pretty reliable armor against lower tier autocannons, especially if you face a tier 8 scout tank and even some tier 9s. You can have pretty reliable armor against their autocannons, or at least from the front. And then it has an armor retrofit slot at the end of this line here. For the 40mm autocannon, like I said before, it has 13 shells in the magazine and 224 damage, or at least for its armor-piercing ammunition. And its long reload is 10 seconds, which isn't bad at all. Its only upgraded ammunition is high explosive. For the mobility, you get improved suspension, improved handling on rough ground. Electric starter reduces the effectiveness of thermal sight, which I am pretty sure thermal sight means the effectiveness at which you can see through bushes. So you can't see through bushes as well, but it increases your camo factor by moving by 20%. So I'd say that is a benefit there, but it's up to you. And then the mobility retrofit slot. Upgraded tires, improved steering that increases your traverse speed. It already has 68 traverse speed, so increasing that by 15%, that is really good, even though that it probably doesn't even need it, to be honest. For its tech, it has smoke grenades, so you can quickly conceal yourself if you find yourself being if you get spotted and enemies are shooting at you. Improved accuracy from the gunner sight, improved gun stabilization, universal retrofit slot, another universal retrofit slot, a reconnaissance package, and basically maxing out your view range when you are stationary. Upgraded camera system, increasing your view range to 480, which is awesome, especially since the commander that I would recommend using, Sabrina Washington, increases your view range also by 40 meters. So it increases your view range on the Sphinx to 520 if you choose to use that commander. Improve overall accuracy again, improved air conditioning, and the enhanced cooling system. Reduces the effectiveness of thermal sights again, but it increases your camo factor, and your camo factor is so good that increasing your camo factor by even more is, I would say, is a good deal. Unfortunately, since I don't have this vehicle in my garage, I can't actually show it in any type of battle playing it, but I will show how it plays in a test drive. And of course, remember that this vehicle, all of the stats and the test drive will be with the stock equipment. So if you can imagine this be better than it is on screen, if you had all kinds of retrofits that you would prefer, or crew skills and all of that. I don't know if the test drive has any crew benefits at all to the vehicle.
Identify target.
And, well, I'm pretty sure this vehicle is actually kind of a small vehicle as well. You can see, well, okay, maybe not. I don't have this vehicle, so I don't see it very often. It's about the size of a Leopard 2 tank, so it's kind of a large tank for a scout tank. And just to get an idea of the mobility, of course, since mobility is probably the most important thing for a scout tank besides its camo and its view range. So you can get up at least to 90 pretty reliably, even on not smooth ground. The accuracy doesn't seem to bloom out very much when I'm firing on the move. So as long as you could be auto aiming it if you wanted to as well, but it's going to be pretty good on the move, especially so fast. And also there's the double rocket system, shoot on the move as well.
Identify target.
So primarily you get an idea for how maneuverable this tank is, and how it's even on the move firing the auto cannon, because you're probably going to be, of course, on the move fire the auto cannon, and then I hit the edge of the map there. And then with this hill here, I'll show how good the gun depression is on this vehicle, especially since minus 16 degrees is, I can only think of one vehicle, the M8 Thunderbolt also I think has minus 16 degrees of gun depression. But just look at that. You can really make that upper glacis and even the turret look really angled there, and then you can just shoot down at your opponents on really high angles like this. And I think that, especially since this tank, even though it does have armor, it's not the best, but you don't need to show very much of your vehicle to really do some massive damage there. So I can just imagine this tank in PvP being really good at flanking as well as botting for the team. And I keep running on the edge of the map. Whoops. Also, like all scout tanks, it of course has ability to target the opponent to increase the damage of all your allies and all of that good stuff. So not only can you do pretty good damage yourself, and abilities it. So I think I pretty much said all of the things that stood out to me on the Phoenix. Its playstyle, it's a really fast scout tank, and I feel like it has really pretty good acceleration. It actually can reach its top speed. There are a lot of main battle tanks I feel that don't really reach their top speeds very well, and it is really nice to see, especially for a tank that needs mobility, to be able to reach its top speed relatively easily to either run away or to make maneuvers to spot your opponents. So this is the Sphinx before Balance 2.0. In Balance 2.0, I do believe that they are nerfing autocannons overall. So hopefully this tank will still at least have decent rockets, and it'll have its
Identify target.
mobility still. So, and I think that's everything that I have to say about the Sphinx. So hopefully you get an idea from, I know it's a test drive, so hopefully you can get a feel of how this tank was before Bounds 2.0. And hopefully this video was either helpful to you or nostalgic in some way. But anyways, have a wonderful day, everyone.